Need something?
Welcome to the Breach Outreach. Mr. Breach has been expecting you. Please direct your attention to the intercom. The position of secretary was previously held by a woman named Janet. Mr. Breach noticed her talent and wisely promoted her to the position of reporter. Since then, this position has been occupied by me. The Breach Outreach is the main proprietor of news in the greater Portland area. The company is owned and operated by its founder, Mr. Breach. Mr. Breach founded this company 4 decades ago to deliver information to the people of Portland. To learn more, you'll have to speak to Mr. Breach himself. A common misconception. While Bob Frost is a high-value employee, Mr. Breach owns this company and handles its day-to-day operation. Over and out.
That Rancor guy scared me.
Greetings, I am Mr. Breach. Well, I assume you're here. Oh yes, I have friends in low places, so to speak, and they've taken quite the interest in you. Not exactly. I'll be brief. You've got quite a past, kid, and if it's true, then I think you have what it takes to be a reporter. You may not have a fancy piece of paper to back you up, but you've got experience where it counts. You know the wastes like the back of your hand, and you've dealt with all the major powers. Further, you'll go to any lengths to get what you want. You'll have to start as a junior reporter, of course, but the pay is good, and you'll be doing Portland a great service. So what do you say, kid? You in? Of course, you'd be a poor fit for the job if you didn't. They're the best in the business, 100 times better than the chumps under that clown 3-Dog. Alliter and Cooper are your standard news reporters, cold, professional, and dedicated to the truth. Paparazzi, on the other hand, is wild, maybe even feral. He's far from reliable, but when he gets it good, he gets it great. Frost. He's the editor-in-chief here, and my future successor. His skills as a journalist aren't all that spectacular, but he pairs it with an unmatched charisma that demands attention. The Breach Outreach is in good hands. Afraid not. He's too valuable to risk on an unknown. But play your cards right, and you may just get an interview. Oh, it's a propaganda machine, plain and simple. The truth will always be secondary to their agenda. Still, they have good people there. Even John Walker could do great work if he kept his ego in check. A word of advice, don't mention NCR radio around here. The other reporters will be far less civil in their opinions. My friends know me as Thaddeus R. Breach, but we're not friends. You and everyone else in this building shall refer to me as Mr. Breach. My ancestors founded Radiation King, the company that produced all the radios and TVs. I suppose it was only fitting that I continue my family. I was an adventurer, a treasure hunter. I risked my life to recover precious artifacts from the old world. It was hard work, but if you were good, you could make a fortune. And I was the caps I made back then. Who says I stopped? True, I'm not diving into vaults anymore, but a good story is just as valuable as any old world treasure. Besides, there's still plenty of risk. The bullet holes in my office. Do you know what it was like in Portland before we came around? It was chaos, abject chaos. Settlements were failing left and right, powerful tribes vanished overnight, world-changing events came and went without so much as a whisper. No one knew what was happening or why. That scared people. And so, in the spirit of my ancestors, I built Breach Outreach to give the people a way to communicate with one another and stay informed. No more guessing, no more stabs in the dark. Everyone knew what was happening. It's no exaggeration to say. You're sharp. I like that about you. Yes, I had help. If I get into specifics, they'll probably kill you. Let's just say our patron has a vested interest in Portland's stability. You make a lot of enemies in this business, kid. It pays to be cautious. The Breach Outreach holds itself to a high journalistic standard not seen since prior to the Great War. We work tirelessly to dig up the truth and expose the evils done by those in power. In addition, this station is an independent, privately owned corporation. This ensures that I'll be brief. You've got quite a past, kid, and if it's true, then I think you have what it... You may not have a fancy piece of paper to back you up, but you've got... You know the wastes like the back... Further, you'll have to start as a junior. So what do you... Great to have you, kid. For your first assignment, I want you to speak to Paparazzi and Cooper on the second floor. They're two of my best reporters, and they're in need. Once that's wrapped up, speak to me.
So you're the freelancer Mr. Breach brought in. Can't say I'm happy or on the payroll, but it's not really up to me. Me? There's nothing. Yes, actually, I do. The Breach Outreach is a symbol of journalistic integrity. Right, because you're a so-called legend? Of course, my sources say that legend was made up by the... I don't really know who you are, but you're sure as... It would be best if we didn't have a boss at all. But all things considered, he's mostly hands-off, and he seems to really care about... That's just what he calls the freelancers, to make them feel important. Me and Aladar work well together, although he's a bit too safe, in my opinion. As for Dylan, or Paparazzi, as he calls himself, I don't know why he's here. He's got one or two good stories, but the rest is garbage. Bob's a good guy, and a good reporter. I don't think he's as good as everyone says, but still. Yes, I suppose I do. There's a town in Legion territory called Irvington. It's a small hole in the ground, barely worth mentioning. Or it would be, if not for the fact that it's about to enter a full-blown pandemic. People in that town are getting sick, and people who visit that town rarely ever come. Something big is going down, and we need to... I screwed up. I overplayed my hand and blew my cover. The sheriff kicked me out on trumped-up charges, and he should still be in the town. Get in, get... From what I can tell, they don't know about it. At least not yet. You can bet they'll raise the town once it starts affecting them. One last thing. If you have time, ask around and see what else is going on.
Hey, what's up? Ignore the shakes. I'm doing a story about chem addiction, so, you know. I'm not a journalist. At least, not like Olater and Cooper are. I don't just write the stories, I live them. I go where no one else is willing to go and do things that make any sane person pause. And I do it all for the truth, baby. Not gonna lie, that's a benefit of the job. But it also takes a lot of discipline to get a working story out of it. Olater and Cooper mean well, but they just don't get it. They think they can get the full story by standing far away and being objective. But you can't report from a distance, can't write things you haven't lived, and yet they call me a bad journalist. Well, besides Mr. Breach, he's the only other person here I respect. Yeah, he doesn't get as crazy as me, but he'll get down and dirty when the story calls for it. Plus, the guy's a party animal. Best drinking buddy I've ever had. Yeah, I was actually about to come get you. Portland runs on salt, that's a fact. And all salt comes from Salt Town. Creative name, right? The guy in charge is a man named the Foreman. He's a recluse. He never leaves his office. Which means it's almost impossible to get a read on him. But you're about to change that. Check this out. It's a bug. Picked it up from P-Town before the ghost showed up. You get this near the Foreman, and we'll know everything he does in there. I've got a bit of a reputation, and the Foreman ain't exactly on good terms with us. They won't let me, but you're new. You'll be able to sneak this bad boy in right... Is it strictly speaking legal? No. Is that gonna stop me? No. Is that Alright. Just planting it in the building will be good enough. But if you can get it in...